Chapter 9, February 6th. I want to welcome all the North Central Highland Cattle Association members. Thank you for coming. Nice to meet and see some new faces. We're going to start off with the proof of quorum and notice of meeting. We have all the NCHCA members here. That'll be our quorum. And the notice of meeting, there was a notice put out in the October 2021 Hoofbeat, as well as on the North Central Facebook page on January 3rd. And did you get me the minutes? Did you? Okay, yes. The minutes of the last annual meeting were printed in the Hoofbeat. So then we're going to start out with officers' reports. I have a president's message. We'll start with that. Because of COVID, this year the North Central Board has been expanding our online programs, in case anybody hadn't noticed. We've done more business on the Facebook and Instagram. We've had 2 online sales. All of our North Central Board meetings have been through Zoom online. And we've expanded our website usage with membership renewals and committee signups, information, classified ads, the adult scholarship program, and the Zoom educational sessions. Not everything has been online though. Our members have been attending their county fairs, state fairs, and Highland games. I have seen members at the Wisconsin Farm Tech Days, the annual gathering in Michigan, as well as National Western Stock Show in Denver a couple of weeks ago. I personally have had the opportunity to visit several members' farms this year. And even I got a chance to visit some of the retired members or the retired members. We have multiple North Central members holding positions with ACA as board members, as a rep, as well as committee members, and all working hard to help our breed grow and help people throughout the nation learn and respect the Highland breed. I'm extremely proud of how active and involved our North Central region is. Okay, that was the president's report. Anybody have any questions? Not that there was a lot to question there. All right, secretary's report. Ann?
We had a good year last year with memberships. We had over 140 member farms listed. So that was wonderful. Much of that, or several of those, were thanks to the March and June sales, where consigners and buyers are both added to our membership. So gained some members that way. I do want to recognize some farms that helped us greatly last year with memberships. Many of you, or probably all of you, know that you can sponsor a farm if they purchase an animal from you or make contact and you feel like you want to bring them into our membership. For half price, so $15, you can sponsor a new member. And we had a number of farms that did that last year and helped us grow our membership. I want to recognize Rock and Highlands Farm for 9 sponsored memberships. Climbing Stump sponsored 6 new members. Almost a Farm and Flatland Farm both sponsored 4 members apiece. Last Chance Ranch had 2, and Forest Bluffs and Prairie Kettles LLC, Highland Springs Farm, and Windland Flats each brought in a new member. So we really appreciate the help of those farms. So far this year, Flatland Farm and 40 Acres have brought in, combined together, 5 new members already. So consider that when you sell an animal, or maybe make contact with someone that seems like they'd be a good fit with our association and you'd like to help get them more involved. For $15, you can buy them a membership. So we really appreciate that. This year we are at 44, I believe, members have renewed. Clearly we've got quite a few more that will be getting a message from me reminding them that memberships are due in February. So I expect we'll get most of those members to join us again. The secretary's report from the meeting we had last year at this time on Zoom was published in the Hoofbeat. I apologize. I got carried away with some unexpected things at home, and the reports I so carefully printed, I believe, are on my printer still. So I apologize to not have them here in paper copies for you. I believe we need a motion to accept the minutes as published in the Hoofbeat. All right, we have a motion seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much.
And next up is Josh with our treasurer's report. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Jan. So I handed out and then put it on the table. There is a treasurer's report that we'll go over here. But before we get into that, as Ann said on the membership, so there's a way to pay on North Central website. So if you go to NCHCA.com or .org, you can just pay on there. That's simple and easy. We do have a credit card reader here today. We can take checks. So see Ann or I, and we'll get you renewed for this year from that aspect. So appreciate everybody doing that. A couple other things comes to dollars. All those green shirts and polos over there are a free will offering for the juniors. So if you would like to take a shirt today and you want to give $1 or $5 or whatever you feel like doing, it's all going to go to the juniors for the green shirts and the polo shirts that are over there. So I'm hoping we don't have any left at the end of the day from that aspect. Hats are $15. We do have some calendars left as well. Maureen's holding up. They are $10 today. And you can talk to me or Randy about paying for any of those things. So let's talk about the treasurer's report. So Jan already hit on it. It was an online year from a COVID standpoint. So some things had zeros in them or lower dollars. We didn't participate. Some things were higher just because of the fact that we adjusted to COVID. So we've got 5 lines we're looking at down here in the column. So first was 2020, what our actual was, what we did, 2021, what our actual was, and then we put in 2021, what our proposed was. So we do a proposed budget every year, what we said we were going to do. And then the 2022 is what we're going to do for this coming year. This runs on a January 1 to December 31st cycle, just so everybody understands what the year time frame is on this. So you can see our beginning balance for this year is 22.9. That we had a plan of 2,500 for membership dues, and we way exceeded that. This is the highest our membership has ever been that I know. I don't know that we've ever been this high before. So that's really incredible to all of you who sponsored, like Ann said. It'll come up in the show or in the sale report as well. But anyone who is not a member who purchases an animal on one of our sales, we give them a membership. North Central does as well. And we've had really good retention on those members the last couple of years since we started doing that as well. So we've really grown that membership thanks to all of you. Annual meeting in here, you'll see we had proposed of 0, but we did have some costs, or did have some, I should say, income that came in. That was people paying in December to attend this meeting now. So that was going towards this meeting now is what that was. We sold about $2,000 in calendars and calendar ads. The Hoofbeat, we started tracking that. It was 0 last year because it was part of the dues. I pulled it out this year so we could start looking at it just on its own to see what people were paying for ads to put in the Hoofbeat. Online profiles went to 0 because we started giving those away. So online profiles don't cost anything anymore. And then donations, we didn't have any last year. That went to the general fund because we didn't have any donations. And then we did sell a little bit of hat in sales last year. So we had a total income of $7,800 on a proposed budget of $4,500. And so a lot of that had to do with dues increases, selling some hats, and the annual meeting, getting those dollars in December. And then if we look at the expenses, you can see with advertising and marketing up from a plan of $2,500 at 42. Calendars were about the same because we still got some left here to sell. So hopefully that will help bring in some more income. And then bank fees and QuickBooks were a little bit higher than expected for some of the things, but QuickBooks, and that also has all of the credit card fees in there every time we use a credit card, that type of thing as well. Wisconsin Cattlemen's, we joined that as an associate member, but that gives us $100 insurance coverage for that cost. And then Farm Tech Days, and then ACA. The ACA line is our membership dues to ACA, which is $72. And then also it covers our ACA representative, which we have a budget of $1,000 each year for the ACA representative to attend events and things. And that's Mark Schultz is our ACA representative, and Mark wasn't able to attend anything last year because of COVID, so we didn't pay anything for an expense line for that. So our total expenses were $6,500 on a plan of $5,000, so slightly over from that aspect, giving us a year-end balance there in the general ledger of $24,000. And then if you scroll to the right, we'll just look at the proposed right away. You can see that we're looking at a lot of things to be flat, membership dues to be flat, annual meeting going back to about a little bit higher than what we used to. This is actually a higher attended meeting than some of the meetings we've had as well. So we're bringing a little bit more income from that. We got calendars is flat, hoofbeat is flat, hat and t-shirts slightly up for a total income proposed of $9,600. And then advertising and marketing, looking at those things flat based off of some historical advertising, marketing, annual meeting, calendar costs slightly up because everything in the world is going up. So I know that there will be a calendar cost increase for this next year. I've already been told that, so we'll have to talk about that with the calendar committee if we're going to hold our prices or what we're going to do there. And then still paying the cattlemen's dues to get the insurance, Farm Tech Days, assuming that our ACA representative is going to need some of that $1,000 this year. So we've got that in the spend to give us a total expenses of $10,200. So this is not unusual when you look at our historical budget. We've been usually slightly higher in our expenses than our income. And part of that is if we go to production sale, I'll just talk about the dollar part of it here while we got it in front, and then there's a committee report later. But the production sale we had 2 of them this year. And that is a huge revenue source for North Central. And so you can see here what we did on 2021. When we did this plan for the proposed last year, I wouldn't even look at it. We didn't know we were going to do 2 auctions. So we blew the water out of everything here as far as income is concerned for the sale. So bottom line is the sale account right now has $24,000 in the sale account. Last year it had $9,000 this time. So we made a profit of almost $15,000 this year with our 2 sales. So that helps us offset our expenses in the general ledger for some things. It also helped us develop a scholarship fund, which Katie's going to talk more about later. So it's helping us reinvest in our membership from that aspect. And I'll talk more about the sale here in a little bit. And then you can see the juniors here. You can see on the junior report as well. They didn't have all the expenses in the junior report, but there were some expenses this year. The tabletop banner over here, the juniors bought that this year. The juniors are wearing sweatshirts. They bought that. They gave a scholarship away this year. So there are some expenses in the junior account as well. But we had a great auction last night. Ladies, what was the total? It was over $1,000 that we had last night. So thank you to all of you to help rejuvenate the juniors account and give back from that aspect. So I'm going to give this back to Jan. We are going to need a motion to approve the Treasury report. I should say, before I do that, is there any discussion, any questions?
Okay, can I get a motion? Cindy, you moved. Do I get a second? Jean will second. Any questions? Okay, we've accepted the treasurer's report. And on to committee reports. Mark, are you online?
Yep, I'm here.
Mark's here. He's going to give us our APA report. In a second, we're going to get him.
All right. As we start to get back to doing many of the things we enjoy through the American Highland Cattle Association. Here are a few of the highlights from 2021. The South Central Highland Cattle Association was approved as an affiliate of ACA. As you know, we don't adhere strictly to geographic regions, but their intent was to service membership in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Mississippi. The 75th Anniversary Committee was established for our 2023 annual gathering, so 2 years away. There are several folks on the committee that will report directly to the operations manager, Gina Moses, at the office, and the executive committee, as there's not a regional association hosting that event. It'll be held in Chamberlain, South Dakota, so not too far from our association's home bases. So hope to see a lot of you there. There's been a commemorative painting that has been completed for the event. Tom McConnell, Heather Bailey, Emily Young Hobson are doing most of the legwork on planning that event. So should be a great time. Midwest hosted the 2021 annual gathering in Michigan, October 8th through the 9th, along with their fall cattle sale there. 2022 annual gathering will be held with another group event in the beef industry. The exact event has not been decided. And as we've kind of adopted in recent years, kind of every other year we'll have a region host or a regional event, and then the opposite year we'll have some event in conjunction with more of an industry type event. So we're kind of holding true on that, and that seems to be working. A 2-day-a-week position was added to the ACA office in addition to the 2 full-time positions, just to kind of keep things rolling. Financial state of ACA is very stable, with increases in revenue in areas of membership dues and animal registrations and transfers. And that also causes the need for that 2-day-a-week position, because there's a lot more paperwork to get done. It was approved to have a new designation in the cattle registry for what they call parent verified, or PV. PV will be shown as the abbreviation, and that's to show if an animal has both parents verified by DNA. This is a voluntary program. As you know, most of the bulls are verified by DNA. This just gives the opportunity for breeders, if they choose to do so, to have a note that their dams are also DNA verified. As of September 1st, 2021, ACA no longer is affiliated with the ACA Facebook group, but will still maintain control of the Facebook page. This was to reduce risk of litigation against ACA when dealing in complex nature of Facebook groups. There were several virtual educational events put on by Beef Marketing Committee over the course of the year. There was a fair amount of time spent on discussion improvements around nominations and elections for directors at large, and how that in turn plays into elections for the executive committee. Any questions? Okay. If you have any that you think of later on, or have input to provide back to ACA, that's what I'm here for. You can give me a call on my cell, 507-481-7367, or email me at mark@flatlandfarm.com. So thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Now, just because I remember when we first started, does everybody know, when we refer to ACA, does everybody know what that means? We're referring to the American Highland Cattle Association. They're like our parent organization. They're the national organization of Highland breeders, okay? Just for anybody who didn't happen to know. Yes, 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 we have, like Josh says, we have several people on the board, several people as committee members and things like that. So with that. Show committee reports. I believe Melinda has it passed out. Do you want to talk about it? Okay.
So this is the first year I did this kind of without other people on the managing. So I managed alone. So I appreciate people being patient with me as I kind of figured things out. I had a great committee. They were all willing to help and pitch in, and I was just really grateful for how things turned out. If you just look at the report, it's pretty self-explanatory. Entry fees. We had 63 animals. A lot of people that had signed up and couldn't come for various reasons, but I think we had a pretty good show. Banquet, well, the first is revenue, excuse me. So the income from that was $2,205. Banquet was $1,200. The $1,600 got schlepped over from the other side. I'm not the best with computers, so trophy and ribbon donations, food stand, auction, and then we bought pine shavings this year. Or we received income from pine shavings, excuse me. So the total revenue was $75.98. And then if you look at expenses, our expenses for this facility have stayed the same every year, $20.95. $500 was deposited. It's our down payment basically, so we can use the facility. And I always have just re-upped our show for the next year. So they just hold on to that $500 deposit. They know it's there, we know it's there, instead of just continuously writing checks back and forth. So that just stays in our pot there at the fairgrounds. Insurance, trophies and ribbons. The food stand was back this year and we had a really good year. This year we tried something a little different. We used to have our show banquet in a little cafe that they have there, and in hopes of just kind of making it a little nicer. A lot of people are coming in from far away. We tried using the Legion Hall, which is right across the street from the fairground. So the cost there for that, catering, dessert, and then show programs, $889. Oh, I'll talk about that part. It got schlepped over again, like I said. That was $50. Bagpiper, judges, betting. We've always appreciated Cindy and her family donating straw. This year they didn't have straw, so we had to purchase that from a local farmer, and he was very gracious to us on the cost of that. PayPal fees, so total expenses $7608.07, which means we lost $10, which I was like, yay! You just never know. So you do your best, but you don't know. So I put together a proposed budget for next year. I figured if you aim big, you may go big, which is exciting for me to see our show grow and new people come. Tons of people interested in showing, and how do I get started, and who do I bring, and do I have to have all this fancy stuff, or can I just, bring my animals and a comb and shampoo, So that's really exciting for us because we love it. We just really enjoy the people and the time. So if you run down the thing with 63 this year, we're hoping for 75 or more. The banquet, we're planning for 80. We're using a different catering service this year. It's actually the catering service at the American Legion, and she said she would help me kind of figure out. Last year I over-ordered. I just know I did. So she's going to help me with that. Trophies and ribbons. I figured the prices would go up like Josh had said. So I over budgeted for that. Sponsorships is something that I have not done a good job at. My plan is to maybe send out postcards or something to the membership about sponsoring. We love having our membership sponsor. Even if you don't show, it still helps exhibit the breed and grow our breed, and it brings people in. And so my intention this year is to really ask a lot more help in the sponsorship area, going down to Austin and talk to different businesses down there, because we bring a good deal of business for them when we come down. So food stand, I have some ladies that volunteered for that already, which I'm so excited. Auction, about the same. And then expenses, pretty close to the same. facility insurance ribbons. I'm going to change ribbon companies this year. I tried our local place and it has not worked out well for us. So we're going to switch that out. Food stand about the same, Legion about the same, and the banquet. What else? Oh, the photographer. I asked, there's a young gal from Colorado who does a lot of weddings and she wants to come and photograph for our show. It's a challenge to find a photographer that knows how to set up cattle and just do a really good job. And she's excited to come. She's excited about Highland cattle. So she's going to come from Colorado. One thing I would like to kind of maybe discuss is I'd like to buy a permanent background for our photos that is nice. It's not just the blue curtain that we've had traditionally. So something like what the juniors have for their thing. And I've contacted a few companies. $600 to $800 is probably what that would cost us. And it's a pretty big expense. But I think it would class up our photos. And it would just be, you know, people are paying good money to come in for our shows and I'd like to send them home with some really nice photos. So that's one thing I'd like to improve this year. That bagpiper judge, all those things are the same. Judge, I would like to bring a judge in from out west. He's willing to come. He wants to do the whole show. And we'd have to provide the airline ticket. Mark and Jamie have agreed that they would let him stay with them to reduce our costs. So that's a little bit different expense, but I think it's a good thing. So I'm kind of excited about that. I plan for straw again, and then of course PayPal fees. So it looks like we're going to make a big profit, but again, things change, prices change. And so I kind of aimed high this year. So one last little plug, if you are interested in helping with the show or just learning about showing, like Bakers came last year, they want to start showing and they wanted to see what it was like and how it works. And so they just came and worked. The show was awesome. They did great. I was so thankful. That's another opportunity. If you're interested in it to come, there's lots and lots and lots to do. You will not be without something to do. So does anybody have questions? Yes.
I just have a question.
Sure.
You might want to look into a different audio type.
Yeah, that's an ongoing problem.
The judge couldn't hear this a lot of times that really kind of bounces around that nuance. I don't know if you want to look at these.
Right. I know, well, I talked to Kyle, it's like we need walkie-talkies so that the people that are lining up, we can communicate better. So that's something that we're looking into. It's an ongoing problem. You know, sometimes it works great and sometimes it doesn't work great. And I talked to Greg Reynolds about bringing in equipment because he's a big audio visual guy. And he couldn't come the last couple of years. So I can talk to the fairground. That's weird. If you have suggestions, I'm totally open to suggestions. I do know it's a problem. I just don't know. Yeah, that's fine. Or I don't know if there's somebody local.
Can somebody repeat the question for folks online?
Yeah, she asked about the audio in the barn and in the show ring. Really hard to hear. That's kind of been an ongoing problem, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have any ideas?
No.
I'll work on it.
Unless there's some way we could put our own audio in there, but
That's what he was saying is we could put our own audio, but
that gets tricky.
I'll look into it. I'll put Mark on that. Yeah, you heard me. You can ignore me. Oh, yeah.
If somebody volunteer to just handle that, you know, to be on the committee doesn't mean you have to do everything, but if there's an expertise provided to help pull in the step up.
There's like a for big pieces and you're like typing this one over here.
Did everybody hear what Ann said? Was everybody able to hear Ann? She's got kind of a soft voice.
Yeah.
So for the people online, Ann Proctor mentioned that if you have a special area of expertise that you are capable of doing, don't be afraid to step up and jump on a committee and say, hey, I can do this for you. That is more than welcome most of the time. And all the committee chairs love it, so don't be afraid. Thank you, Melinda. Billy's got a question. Billy said he's not finding a beginning and ending balance on the show report. Discussion is going on about we're going to get a background after app, and we're going to put a proposal together for that. Okay, anything else for Melinda? All right. World Beef, there was a report in the Hoofbeat about World Beef. There's a junior report Avery wrote. Avery, do you have anything else you want to add to that? Does everybody have a chance to look that over? Okay. And then the production sale. Josh, I'm going to give the mic to you again.
Yeah, so you have a report in front of you. It was also in the Hoofbeat, but I did mention a little bit in the Treasurer's report. We did do 2 sales this year. Thank you to all of the consigners. We couldn't do the sales without you. Thank you to all of the buyers. We talked about this yesterday in the breakouts, and for those of you that are online that missed, we talked about, right now, Highland cattle are at record prices, which is great for the breed, great for everybody involved from that aspect right now. And we talked about different ways to be creative to reach out and get genetics and cattle to participate in this as well. So to carry on with that momentum, we are going to have a sale again this year as well. So the sale is set for June 11th. And so the sale will be an online sale. So follow the same structure as we have followed now the last 2 years. We have found from a committee standpoint that it works really well, especially for sellers. You don't have to get the cattle all stressed out. You don't have to move them across states. And the sellers have done a great job with photos and videos that have really helped bring the value up of those cattle. And from a buyer standpoint, we have buyers from all over the U.S. Most of the cattle in our 2 auctions last year went outside of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan, which is where most of the cattle were consigned from. So most of the cattle are going southeast and some are going west. We've had cattle, I think the farthest we had cattle for the sales last year go out to almost Seattle, Washington. We had a black heifer go out there. We had a cow go out to the burbs of Washington, D.C. Last year. We had some cattle go to the southeast corner of Alabama. We had cattle go to South Texas. We had a cow, the white cow that went to Oregon. So we've had cattle go all over the U.S. from that aspect. So there are buyers everywhere. The online format really gives us a way to reach those buyers. So we're going to continue that again this year. I did bring some enrollment forms, paper copies. If anybody wants one to take home today or fill out today to consign, consignments are now open at this time. It's also, you can go on highlandsale.org. So you can get there from the North Central website as well. But highlandsale.org is where you go to fill out your application to have entries and also to pay for your entry fee. So consignments are open, and that is cattle, but it is also semen and embryos as well. One change that we did make from a committee standpoint this year is we are not going to have any sales outside of the U.S. for live animals. We did have some bidders last year from Canada that were bidding on live animals. We are not going to allow that for our sale for live animals. There's too many logistics involved with getting cattle from the U.S. To Canada. We will allow semen and embryos that are qualified for export. We will allow those on the sale, but we will not allow any bidding for live animals outside of the United States. So that is one thing that we're putting in place this year. And then we've got committee members in here. Ann's on the committee, Randy's on the committee, Jean and Rich are on the committee, Heather Bailey, who's not here, is on the committee, and Kevin Opperman's on the committee as well. I think I got everybody. So if you have questions, suggestions, reach out to committee member. And just like Melinda said, if you want to join our committee, we are fun. So if you want to join, we've got a couple of meetings here and there. We're always looking for help and new blood too from that aspect. So welcome anybody that has ideas to share with us, or if you want to join, that's awesome too. So yeah, is there any questions, comments?
Thanks, Josh. Okay. And then moving on, we're going to talk about the website with Randy. You want to come up?
Okay, you have a website report and paper that has a fair amount of detail. I'm not going to go through all that, but what we try to do with the website is make it a source of information where hopefully you can go and find some good stuff. We're always looking for suggestions. If anybody has ideas of things we could do, we'd be happy to hear about it. We have seen a lot of increase in traffic. We have two websites. We have the NCHCA.org, which is the main one, but then we also have a separate website for the sale. The sale is the one that gets lots of traffic because there's so many things there. But our regular website has really increased over the last few years. So people are finding us. This year, we've had some changes in our member benefits. A big change that you've noticed if you're a member is that we now have classified ads, and those have kind of taken off. People have been very successful, and you'd be surprised at how quickly I hear from someone, not animals sold. We offer those classified ads free to any member, as many as you want in a year, and we post them on the website, and we also do a Facebook post, and we email out membership about it. And anything that you want to sell that's farm related, you can make use of that. And hopefully people will take advantage of that. We went from having kind of nobody using the classified ads, and now they happen and they come in flurries. You see them in your mailbox. Yep.
So we don't have to use classified ads.
Right. Right. We had semen tanks sold on there. So if you wanted to do something else, so feel free to use that. Another thing we started is we do have a spot with the semen directory. If you're a member and you have semen that you want to list, just send me stuff and I'll get it up there. And that again is free. And I'm not sure if people have found it, but it is a way for you to find semen if you're looking for it as well. We've got semen listed from a number of farms. One of the things that I'd like to talk a little bit about is the profiles on the website. Every member has their own page on the website, and I set it up for you whether you want it or not. It has at least your contact information, but you can put more information there if you want. So if you want to put pictures, if you want to put a description of your farm, we can have a Google map to get to your farm, your logo, all that stuff. If you want to put it up, you just need to send it to me. There's a place on the website where it says, click here to enter your profile information. But if you don't want to do that, you can just email as well. Just email the website. And for people that don't have a presence on the internet, it's an easy way to get a presence because it will eventually, Google will find that if they're searching for your farm. So it's an easy way to get your name out there, and other folks will be able to find you. The other thing that we have that we've been trying to promote for the last couple of years is a beef producer listing. So we do ask if you go in and do your membership renewal online, there's a survey that we ask you to do that tells us who you are and whether you want to, I can't even remember, well, whether you want to sign up for committees, you sign up for committees that way, but also whether you want to be listed as a beef producer. And I'm not sure if anybody's found a farm that way, but we're hoping it's a way to help you promote your farm. And the other thing that we have just started, some of you were lucky enough to be part of the online educational session with Ann a couple of weeks ago, and we just got that recording posted on the website. So we're hoping we have a page that as we do more and more of those, we'll be able to record them. So if you missed it, you can go now to the website and watch Ann and do her educational session. So look for more things. I'm always looking for new ideas. So if anybody has any ideas or things they'd like to see, just let us know. Or if you want to sign up to be on the committee, we have a committee that's very helpful in terms of figuring out what kind of new things we can do. Any questions, comments, ideas? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Okay. There was a report in the hoof feed on the calendars. And Farm Tech Days, Maureen, she offered to do a report on Farm Tech Days. So I'm going to have her come up here.
So for those of you who don't know me here or online, I'm Maureen, and I am a co-owner operator with Dennis Burnham of Hidden Ridge Highland Cattle in Loganville, Wisconsin. In the spring of 2021, after the annual Zoom meeting, Dennis and I had a conversation about getting more involved with North Central. And I think it was shortly after that, Cindy posted on Facebook needing a cow-calf pair to go to Farm Technology Days. So I volunteered us. Farm Technology Days in 2021 was held in Eau Claire County on the Huntsinger Farms, July 20th and 22nd, through the 20th and 22nd. Huntsinger Farms is a family-owned and operated horseradish farm dating back to 1921. They're the world's largest grower and processor of horseradish, which is kind of interesting. And at that point, Dennis and I had officially had our Highland cattle for 1 year. In my mind, I had believed that Farm Technology Day would be about the size of a church or school festival. I grew up in Milwaukee, so I had no idea what I was getting into. Farm Technology Days is actually the state's largest outdoor agriculture event. And 2021 was a record year with 52,000 attendees coming through the main gate, 18,000 of which came through on the first day. Our beef tent was nicely located for easy drop off. Thank you, Uncle Rich, for standing outside so we could see you. We were lucky to be one of the first to arrive with our animals, our cow, Victor's Magic, and her 4-month-old calf, Fiona. Our arrival was thankfully uneventful, unlike the Galloways, who had a little escape artist, which got to run around Tent City for a couple minutes. Jean and Rich Gernert and Cindy Weidman were there to help us. They also had organized some lovely shrubs to make our beef tent a little bit more welcoming and spruce it up for comparatively to others. We had the morning meetings with the always witty Mike Mueller. We made lasting friendships to those nearby. I don't know people by names. I know them by breed. So there were Galloways, Normandys, and Duolingos. We're friends on Facebook, but I still don't know. We had fellow support members from the North Central members stopping by, including Josh Krentz, Bruce Schmidt, and Jan and Dave Larson. I'm sure there were more of you. I apologize that I don't remember your names either. I had a coworker stop in, Dennis's parents and brothers stopped up for the day. Cindy's daughter, Jessica, and her son Ryan each spent the day with us. We learned that I was a bit of a helicopter mom. Magic was a bit overwhelmed with all of the people, but she did better each day that we were there, as did I. Fiona soaked up all the love and ate treats to her heart's content, and even enjoyed eating some animal crackers with Cindy. She wound up being a fan favorite, and on the last day we were awarded the chip magnet, which is actually just a little magnet that goes on our fridge at home. We all took turns greeting and chatting with guests, which also allowed us time to explore Tent City. Cindy and her daughter Jessica took some time to walk around and enjoyed the live performance with Chris Croce, the season 15 American Idol runner-up. They got to meet him and have their picture taken. Cindy and Jessica also found a t-shirt making booth that had a Highland print. So between Jean, Cindy, and myself, we put her to work making t-shirts and tank tops. We even got so many, we got some free. When we weren't exploring the over 526 vendors, we were busy talking with everyone who walked through the tent, answering questions about the breed, why we raised them, if we ever dehorned them, and why not, where we were all located, how many head we each had, and how long we had had them. Poor Jean met so many people and talked to so many people. By day 3, she basically had no voice left. The days in the tent were long and hot. The average temperature was at least 85.5 degrees. We were all ready to go home at the end of the day, but the fun just continued. There was pizza parties. We went to the campsite and had steak dinners with Cindy and Jean, talking about our cattle, because that's what we love. We learned so much while we were there. We met so many people. We made some great memories and had a wonderful experience. Dennis and I both agreed that we highly recommend it to anybody else who wants to get out there and learn more about the breed and meet people. The 2022 Wisconsin Farm Technology Days is being held in Clark County at Roll Acres Farm and Rustic Occasions in Loyal, Wisconsin on the 12th to 14th of July. And in 2023, it's going to be held in basically our backyard in Sauk County, Wisconsin at the Badger Steam and Gas Grounds in Baraboo. Cindy did remind me that last year there was some question about whether there would be a beef tent at the Wisconsin Farm Technology Days. And we haven't had the Wisconsin Farm meeting yet, so we don't know where we stand on how that's going to play out. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Maureen. Are there any other reports? Okay, this is going to conclude reports.
Did you want to do the state fair?
Mark, would you
Jan?
do the Minnesota State Fair?
I got one for the fair if you want it, if you want me to give it.
Yes, everybody is saying yes.
Okay. So the Minnesota State Fair, otherwise known as the Great Minnesota Get Together, took place August 26th through September 6th. The fair was pretty much business as usual, although it did see a significant drop in attendance compared to the last fair in 2019. In 2019, the attendance was 2.1 million, which was an all-time record, and this year was the lowest attendance in 44 years at 1.3 million. There were a number of reasons given as to why the attendance was down. Obviously, COVID had a factor, but there were other things as well. From someone who has navigated the fair, getting to and from the fair 3 times during the 12 days of the fair since 2013, the lower attendance and exhibitors was a blessing in my mind. I will also say that questions we got at the booth were the most thought-provoking and genuine that I've heard since Jamie and I started bringing cattle to the fair in about 2009. With the pandemic still causing some anxiety, I was wondering whether I would have much for volunteer help this year, but our members of our association came through as usual to help educate the fairgoers. I recently came upon a letter that I wrote to the superintendent of the cattle barn in 2012, requesting a safer and more prominent spot in the barn. In 2013, we secured a spot in the Moo Booth education area and have built a solid relationship with the manager of this area over the years. This was supposed to be a 1-year placement back in 2013, and we are now heading into our 9th year in this location. We have also gotten numerous publicity opportunities as we are ready to travel blocks across the fairgrounds with a cow-calf in tow to be on local TV news or as a draw for a sports team. This year was no exception with 6 different appearances, main appearances that is. And thanks to all who made this possible, and we look forward to people experiencing this with us at the 2022 Minnesota State Fair, August 25th through September 5th, 2022. Thanks. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, Mark, I think we're good. Thank you so much.
Jan, can I also make a plug for the Highland Cattle Foundation?
You plug away.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know what the Highland Cattle Foundation is, it's a nonprofit organization that is separate from the American Highland Cattle Association, but the members of the board for the Highland Cattle Foundation are approved and voted on by ACA. The purpose of the Highland Cattle Foundation is to provide junior scholarships, financially support education around Highland cattle, and to preserve and protect the breed from a genetic standpoint. And so that's what we do on the foundation. Just wanted to point out that we are having, we do get semen and embryos donated to the foundation, and we're having our February semen sale right now. You can go and find some details about that on the ACA website, or you can contact me directly. This year, we're hoping to have the same sale in August or September, so that people have another chance. If you're like a fall breeder or that, then that may work out and give people opportunities. But these semen and embryo sales, either through these sales or some of the things that we put on the auctions at different points, help to raise money for those things I outlined in the beginning of the talk here. So any questions on what the Highland Cattle Foundation is, or what we do and how it works?
No questions, Mark.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. So I have been asked to remind everybody for the calendars that the pictures, any submissions for the Highland calendar, the North Central calendar, should be turned in by the 15th of March. And I believe you can go online and put them in, or Randy, can they email you? Yep, on the website. Yep. Okay. So Maureen was saying there's a link on the website. It says click here, and all you got to do is click on it and submit your photos. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, then. Moving on. Okay. So Maureen just stated that the selection process for the photos will be done the same way as they did last year. Anything else? All right, moving on to old business. Basically, it's been touted here and pretty much all morning that committee sign up. So that's a big deal. Let's, if everybody could sign up for just one committee, that would be super helpful. And I'll have the sheets. You can also sign up online. So we encourage everybody to join us on a committee. Moving on to new business. So we're going to talk about elections. We're going to start off with the elections. We have a position opening up. Kevin is stepping off of the board. He's done his 2 runs, and he needs to step off the board for a while. So we are looking for another new board member. I'm going to open this up to nominations. Does anybody have nominations for somebody who'd like to be a new board director? Okay, come on, guys. Josh has got a nomination. Bruce Schmidt. I would like to nominate Maureen Matt. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, at this time, we are going to close the nominations. So we have 2 people running. I'm going to look for some clerks here. Nate, Emily, can you pass out ballots to everybody? Hope everybody has a pen. And then Britt and Sharon, would you guys mind counting the ballots and giving us the total? Britt waved at me as she walked away, so I'm guessing that's a yes. One vote per farm. Again, your nominees are Bruce Schmitz and Maureen Matt. You can write Maureen or Bruce. We'll figure it out. If you haven't gotten a ballot yet, please raise your hand so that, oh, Brandon over here hasn't gotten one yet. Okay. And I will give you guys a couple of minutes to write your names down, and then I will send Emily and Nate around to pick up your ballots, and we'll go from there. But in the meantime, the adult scholarships. Let's talk about the adult scholarships. Katie or Josh. Josh is volunteering Katie to talk about the scholarships.
Okay. So hopefully most of you saw, if you're avid Hoofbeat readers at least, in the October issue, we announced that we're going to be starting an, it's not really adult, but just all membership scholarship program. As Josh has mentioned earlier in the show committee report and the treasurer's report, we've had overwhelming success of the production sale, and that has really allowed us as an association to pad our budget, and we want to be able to use those funds to give back to the membership. And so we've outlined an opportunity for a scholarship program to be used by any farm. Some of the details for anyone who is eligible is really any NCHCA member or junior member in good standing who has been a member for at least 12 months. For these funds, they can be used for really a variety of purposes. We're not going to tell you, certain educational events or conferences, things like that, that you need to attend. So it's pretty broad. It's really any educational activity that is cattle related. Just some examples of those topics are, say, an AI course, any conferences with topics on breeding, conformation, nutrition, handling, health and wellness, maintenance, pasture management, marketing, sales, or even food safety. So really anything that pertains to cattle, your farm can be included. The only thing that's not included are conference meals, lodging, transportation. It's really just the cost of the event itself. For the scholarship amounts, those scholarships can be anywhere from $1 to $500. And then each farm is eligible for up to that $500 amount within a 24-month period. So if you have one event that's $100, 6 months later you do another that's $300, you can definitely qualify for both of those because the total is under $500 within that 24 The last piece of that we felt was really important was we want this to still benefit the entire membership. And so what we are asking in exchange for receiving those scholarship funds is sharing the knowledge that you have learned. And that can be done in a variety of ways. I think it's been evidenced today as no one jumps up here to volunteer to talk on the microphone. Not everybody is a public speaker, and that is perfectly okay. So there's a few options to share that knowledge. If you're a public speaker, great. You can come up here next year and share what you've learned with the membership, but maybe writing is more your style. Write something and submit a HookBeat article. If you just like to be prepared and don't want to see people in front of you, but don't mind speaking, you could pre-record a presentation about what you learned that we can then post to the website or share with the membership via Facebook. So lots of opportunities there to kind of share in whatever way you are most comfortable. Really the goal is to absorb additional knowledge and then share it with the membership as a whole. So otherwise, as far as submitting your request for those scholarships, it is, I don't know if it's already on the website, Randy, thank you for that. You can go online, fill out the application there. Really, it'll just be approved by the board at our next monthly meeting. And then those funds will be distributed after that sharing of knowledge requirement has been met. So, but if that's just submitting an article with a HookBeat, that turnaround can be pretty quick. If you decided you want to speak at the next annual meeting, obviously that won't be until next year, but then those funds will be submitted at that point. So, any questions?
Thank you, Katie. Production sale 2022. Josh, do you want to talk any more about that? You're good. Okay.
I wondered how many of those were giving out a year, 1, 2.
Maureen just asked how many scholarships we are giving out per year for the adult scholarship program.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have a set limit on the number. I believe as a board, we were going to set kind of an overall budget for that throughout the year. But again, because someone could submit one for $20, someone else for $500, there's not a limit on the number that will be given out.
Any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our Zoom meetings that we have begun. What we're trying to do is educational Zoom meetings online, and just did one on the 8th of January discussing nutrition and feeding cattle. And we had quite a good number of attendees. I was excited about that. We are planning more. I have 2 more that I'm working on getting lined up, so keep an eye out for those. And it's really simple. You'll sign up, say I want to be on there. We'll send you an email link, and then you can click in on the day and time of the meeting and sit back and listen, learn, and ask questions. So, all right. That's a really good question. I believe they are, because I think Randy just said that Ann's is up. Okay. Brett asked if they were recorded to be watched later for those of you online. All right. On to other things. Yeah, that was what I was going to do next. That's okay. Josh has asked me for some help. He has been running around with some t-shirts and articles of clothing for at least 3 years, carrying them around to all events. And with all the other stuff that he's doing, he'd really like somebody else to step up and handle that for him. Be in charge of what we call wearables. Okay. So I am looking for somebody to do that, if you are interested, please talk to me or talk to Josh right away, unless you want to raise your hand and volunteer right now. All right, Bruce has raised his hand and volunteered to be in charge of the wearables. Thank you, Bruce. We appreciate that. All right, so I did get the ballots. I did get the count of the ballots for our new director. And thank you both for volunteering, and we appreciate that. And I would like to welcome Maureen Matt to the North Central Board. Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to discuss here today that you guys can think of? Okay. Well, I do want to say one last thing. Would Katie and Josh and John, Kevin's not here, would you guys stand up? These are current members of the board. And I just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been a really rough year, and you guys have been awesome. I can't say how much I appreciate you. They have stood behind me, and they have laughed at my technology illiterateness and helped me along with that. And I appreciate them so much. You guys just don't know. Is there any other new business or any other thing we need to discuss? All right, then I need a motion to adjourn. Sharon made the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Maureen seconded. All right, we have adjourned the annual meeting for the North Central Highland Cattle Association. Thank you, everybody, for attending.